Tonight, on an interview with an interesting person, Jerry Norris, with your host, Kevin Schoen.
Hello, this is Interview with an Interesting Person. Tonight I have with us Jerry Norris from The Fledge.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Nice
Thanks
to see
for
you
coming
too.
on the show, man.
Thank you.
So, I've known you a while. Not really well, but you were in my office as a tenant for a while.
Yeah.
Over at ACD.net, the company I run during my day job. And you were running Jadian for a while, which was a software company. Tell me a little bit about that.
We wrote software for the compliance industry, so that was our auditors and inspectors all over the world. We had our office in your building from 2006 to 2014. We had an office in Dubai. We had an office in Hyderabad. So we were doing pretty good. It was a fun little company.
And then you sold that, or that was sold, and after that, you started out The Fledge in initially Grand Ledge, right? What was that, about 4 years, 3.5 years ago?
Yep, 3.5 years ago, we formed The Fledge in Grand Ledge. We were working on it for about a year before that, trying to figure out exactly what we were going to do, what type of space we needed. Mm-hmm.
So, and that's like it's a private sector incubator run by you and owned by you, right? You don't have at this point you haven't solicited any investors or obtained investors at this point. You're kind of, tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we've got two organizations right now, the Fledge and Fledge Properties.
Okay.
And Fledge Properties, I do have a couple of partners in that, and that's who owns the building that we bought in Lansing.
Yep.
And then the Fledge itself as a business is owned and operated by myself.
Okay. Yeah. And so your idea behind this, tell me about what your plan is and what your what the business model is that you've got.
Well, our idea is to attract a large set of people to come in and just get familiar with us.
Yep.
Get them involved in projects that are interesting to them, that have technical skills or practical skills related to them, and trying to generate ideas for businesses. And then once a person or a group of people have an idea for a business, we help them prototype it, kind of define what it's going to be. Then we go into incubation and help them find a customer. And then once they've kind of got their systems in place, we help them accelerate and get investors or funding, or grants, loans, whatever, more customers.
Sounds great. And so you were in Grand Ledge for a couple of years, and then you bought a building with some investors in Lansing. Where's that at?
It's by Sparrow Hospital, so it's behind the Ronald McDonald House on a street called Eureka.
Yep. And it's a pretty large space. And so what are you kind of doing in there, and how do you have it subdivided and set up and those types of things?
It's 11,000 square feet. It's 3 stories. So in the sanctuary, which would have been where the church, the congregation
it was originally
would
a
have
church
met.
building, right? Yeah.
In there, we've got it set up on the weekends as venue space. So we have concerts, we have comedy, we have improv, we've got all kinds of talks and speeches. You know, we've done tech demo night and startup grind. So it serves as a venue sometimes, but it also morphs into shared office space or shared resources like computers or 3D printers. We hold our clubs there. So we rearrange, we keep it pretty agile. We took 22 pews and harvested it down to 8 pews, and we made a dance floor, and we're making a floor for our studio.
Okay. And so it's kind of a multi-use space. You got a performance arts, but you also have it as demo space for various technology clubs in the area and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And interesting. So tell me about some of the things that are coming up. For example, like you're doing a improv type of event at some point here?
Yep, there's improv on November 1st. It's a troupe that works out of Miami that's coming up to the Lansing area. One of them's from Lansing.
Okay.
So they've got to be in Grand Rapids for a reason they can't announce yet.
Yep.
But they're going to pass through Lansing and do a show here. We've got a Rock the Vote concert on November 3rd. We've got a comedian, Sean Moss, is doing a stand-up on October 19th.
Okay.
And then right after his stand-up, he's doing a show, his one-man show called Day Trip, which is about hallucinogenics, mushrooms and whatnot. So he talks about that.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's great. So those are your upcoming shows, and what's kind of your plans for the space going forward? Are you still kind of you've been there, what, 6-9 months or
Yep.
so, roughly?
We celebrated 6 months about a week ago.
Okay.
We basically have it under control right now. So when we walked in, all the pipes were burst, the
Yeah.
gas was off,
Yep.
the water meter was broken. So we had to replace all of that. We've done some just cleaning up and getting rid of
Yep.
some of the things that were put there that we didn't want there. And I mean structurally, like just some replacing windows and whatnot.
Right.
And now what we're going to do from the building perspective is we've got to replace the roof. We want to put a solar array up, so that's all falling into place. We want to eventually have a licensed commercial kitchen so people can work on their food businesses out of there.
Oh, okay.
And we'll start working on that in December.
Yep.
This week we're buying all the material to convert our baptismal into a fish pond.
Yep.
So we'll be raising fish there that will be feeding our grow room, which is in the back where we're growing tomatoes and herbs and flowers and
Yep.
green beans and
Yep.
all of that. So,
That's great. I mean, you got a lot of things moving ahead on this thing, and so how's the area? Kind of like the area governmental entities view these incubators. I mean, they've got a couple of them themselves. Like East Lansing has their own. It's kind of like a city incubator, or at least it's funded by the city, and then you've got MSU as well, doing those types of things. What's your angle, and how do you see the tech development or business development environment here in Lansing?
well, I think that the tech development here in Lansing is growing very fast, and in part because of MSU, but also in part, I think, because of a lot of the tinkerers in the neighborhood that are, just getting Raspberry Pis and doing really cool stuff with them and
Yep.
figuring out different applications and forming these kind of innovative companies around these technologies, and then MSU itself creating new technology and really putting a lot into research and development. I think, all of that as an ecosystem is really important because you need that motive of commercialization at some point if
Yep.
your technology is going to impact your economy and all the things you want to do with your economic value.
Do you see those other entities as kind of competitors or just complementary or hitting different markets? Like LCC had the one incubator that they had in the NAPS building in downtown Lansing called the Runway, which was kind of like clothes and garments and those types of things. And I don't know how that one was going. I heard that one might be closing or reforming or something like that.
They changed format. They don't have a physical space anymore. They're
Okay.
a virtual
Yep.
incubator now. And I think, your original question was whether we look at those as competitors or not.
Yep.
And we're trying to do something with our economic models where we stop thinking about scarcity and think more about abundance.
Right.
And
Yep.
in that abundance thinking, we don't think in terms of competitors because we're not competing for
Correct.
anything.
Yep.
So we see them very complementary, very necessary, and in a lot of ways we use them to the full extent that we can. So if there's a service that one of them provides that we can't do as good at,
Right.
we're obliged for our clients to be going there and doing things like that. So I kind of call it upselling sometimes. We upsell some of our clients to the well-funded incubators that have that.
Right.
I'm sorry, the college money or the city money.
Right,
behind
right.
them.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is how those things may specialize in certain areas and, have success. Like, for example, with the runway, my guess is they didn't seem that, when I went by there a few times, it didn't seem like there was much going on in terms of, their core mission, right? And so I think with a lot of these things, you got to get really focused and figure out, how can I really, where's my channel that I can most efficiently target or help out, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got 3D printers, you're working on like lighting systems and those types of things.
Yeah.
You got performance space, and what other componentry or elements do you have in
Well,
as services in the building and stuff like that?
We've got a full live room and music studio, so
Yep.
a well-equipped engineering room. We've got a rap and hip-hop music studio.
Mm-hmm.
We've got an isolation booth. We have an Internet of Things workshop area. We have screen printing. We're, like I said, working on a commercial kitchen soon.
Yep.
We've got a desktop CNC
Yep.
that kind of complements the 3D stuff that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We've also been doing a lot of micro utility work, so we built our own Tesla Powerwall out of recycled laptop batteries.
Yep.
We've got a solar array that we've been making mobile, so we have it on a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of cool little tech things.
Interesting. Yep.
So
And so the people who are working on these things with you and helping you out, are there volunteers or people who are like, looking for projects? Are they students, or what age range of people are you getting in there?
it's a whole range of why they're there. They might be there. I mean, we're radically inclusive, so they might be there for community service. They might
Right.
be there because their organization requires so much volunteerism for a week, like the Sunrise or Next Gen people.
Yep.
They might be there because they're a student, they were trying to build their resume in some way, or they've got a commercial idea that they want us to help them build. And everybody that I said before that,
Yep.
that's where we want them to go. So we're trying to get everybody thinking about, here's a passion that I have.
Yep.
I'd like to figure out how to monetize it enough where I can make a living doing this and kind of follow my passion more than
Yep.
subjugated to my mortgage and my student loan and my credit card.
Right,
debt.
right. Well, that's really interesting, and what I think we'll do is I definitely want to have you back and cover some additional detail or certain segment areas of your operation. And so, I really appreciate you coming aboard, and I went there for when they had the Capital City Film Fest. You had a party at night, and then it was.
Oh, you came to that
yeah,
party?
I came to that. Yeah. And well, that's probably another story.
That's the first time the police came.
First time the police came out. Well, then there must have been a second time the police have come then. But I'd love to hear that. And but thanks for coming on. I really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it,
me.
Jerry.
This was
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Anyways, I'm Kevin Schoen, and this is Interview with an Interesting Person. Tonight, our guest was Jerry Norris, who runs a incubator in Lansing, Michigan called The Fledge. And with that, I'm handing it to Larry.